Okay, let's talk about a specific number. Not $1 million, we're talking about $20,000. Now that might not sound like a huge amount of money, but I want you to think about it in a different way. Imagine that poverty is a force, like gravity. It's this heavy weight that's always pulling you down. To break free from that pull, to actually fly, you need what's called escape velocity. And in the world of your personal finances, that escape velocity is $20,000.
The physics here is just a perfect analogy for money. When a rocket launches, it burns most of its fuel right at the beginning, just in those first few minutes, fighting to break away from Earth's gravity, which is strongest at the surface. Well, that intense struggle, that is exactly what it feels like to save your first $20,000. It is, without a doubt, the hardest part of building wealth. Why? Because you're fighting the most powerful financial resistance you will ever face in your life. But once you break through, everything gets a little easier.
And this right here, this captures that feeling so well. That zone between having nothing and having that first 20,000, that is your personal financial gravity well. When you're in it, you're not really moving forward. It feels like every dollar you earn is just spent fighting to survive, just to keep from sliding backwards. It's this immense, exhausting pull that just holds you in place. It's like you're trying to run on a treadmill that's pointed straight uphill.
So, let's break down what this gravitational pull actually looks like in your day-to-day life. Because here's the great, terrible paradox of it all. When you have no money, when you have no financial cushion, everything in life actually becomes more expensive. It costs more to be poor. You're constantly playing defense, and it feels like the world is designed to penalize you for it.
And this is what we mean when we talk about poverty taxes. These are the hidden costs of having no buffer. Think about it. Your bank charges you a fee because your balance is too low. Your landlord hits you with a late penalty because you're a day or two behind. You have an emergency and you're forced into a payday loan with crushing interest. You have to buy cheap shoes that fall apart in a few months, so you end up buying them over and over and over again. These aren't just little expenses, they are a system that works to keep you trapped.
And the cost isn't just financial, it's also mental. This number here, this is genuinely shocking, 13 to 14 points. That is the temporary drop in your IQ, your cognitive function, that's caused by constant financial stress. Just let that sink in for a moment. The mental burden of being broke is so heavy that it literally makes it harder for you to think clearly. It's because of something researchers call the cognitive bandwidth tax. Now, this has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's about your brain being completely hijacked by survival questions. You're constantly thinking, how will I pay the rent? What if the car breaks down? What happens if I lose my phone? Your brain has no space left for long-term strategic thinking. It's like trying to solve a really complex math problem while a fire alarm is screaming right in your ear. You just can't do it.
And this right here is why so much of the standard financial advice you hear just feels totally useless when you're in this stage. People are talking about the stock market, about getting a 10% return on your investments. But look at this quote. If your starting amount, your principal, is basically zero, even a fantastic 100% return gets you, well, it gets you nothing. So the focus can't be on fancy investment strategies. The only thing that matters, the only thing, is accumulation. Pure, simple, relentless saving.
But here's the good news. Once you break free, once you finally cross that $20,000 line, the entire world changes. And the first and most powerful shift that happens isn't about math, it's psychological. This is the moment you gain a new superpower. It's the birth of what we'll call refusal power.
This is such a critical mindset shift. That first $20,000 you save, it isn't really money for spending. It's a tool. I want you to think of it as body armor. It's body armor for your personality. It protects your dignity. It protects your ability to think rationally. It lets you make decisions from a place of strength, not from a place of fear. It's the buffer that finally lets you breathe and think clearly again.
Let's make this super real. Imagine two people, Jack and Mike. They have the same job. On a Friday, their boss comes and asks them both to work all weekend on some pointless project, for free. Jack, who has zero savings, immediately panics. His brain goes into pure survival mode. He's terrified of getting fired, so he just says, "Yes, boss." But Mike, who has $20,000 in the bank, is calm. He can think strategically. He knows he has a cushion, so he has the power to calmly say, I don't think that's feasible, and then suggest a better way. Mike can refuse a bad relocation, or even quit a toxic job without panicking, all because he has that safety net. He has refusal power.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. Real power in any negotiation, whether it's with your boss, your landlord, anyone, it comes from your ability to walk away from the table. That $20,000 in the bank is your walkaway fund. It's the ultimate source of leverage.
It's what allows you to take a deep breath and make a decision based on logic, not on desperation.
So you've built your psychological armor. And that's when something really incredible starts to happen. Your stress levels, that cortisol running through your veins, it begins to drop. Your brain physically switches from that short-term survival mode to a long-term strategy mode. And it's because when you aren't afraid of tomorrow, you can finally think about the day after tomorrow. I'm going to say that again because it's so important. When you are no longer afraid of what might happen tomorrow, you get the mental space to start planning for the day after tomorrow. And that is when the magic of math can finally start to work for you.
Okay, look at this. This is the power of what we call critical mass. Let's say you get a fantastic 10% return on $1,000. Oh, that's $100. It's enough for one nice dinner out. It's nice, but it doesn't really change your life. But with $20,000, that same 10% return is $2,000 a year. That's not just noise. For a lot of people, that's a whole month's rent. That's a car payment. That's all of your utility bills for the whole year, paid for by your money, not by your labor.
This is the moment everything changes, because you've just gained an invisible partner. A partner that doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, and never complains. It just works for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to earn you more money. For the very first time in your life, you're not fighting this financial battle all by yourself. Your capital, your money, is now fighting right there alongside you.
And here's how that partner just gets stronger and stronger over time. There's a simple little mental trick called the rule of 72. All you do is divide the number 72 by your expected annual return, and that tells you roughly how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So if you're earning about 7 to 10% a year in a simple index fund, your money doubles every 7 to 10 years. Automatically. Your 20,000 becomes 40,000, that 40,000 becomes 80, and the snowball just starts rolling downhill faster and faster all by itself.
All right, so you've done the incredibly hard work. You've escaped the gravity well, you've built your escape velocity, but right at this moment you face the single greatest danger on your entire financial journey. This is what some people call the great filter. This is the test that determines if you fall right back down to earth or if you continue your journey up to the stars.
And this is the critical question, isn't it? You've been frugal, you've sacrificed, maybe you've worked extra hours, and you finally have this pile of cash sitting in your bank account. The feeling of relief is immense, but so is the temptation. What do you do with it? This moment right here, this is the moment of truth. And this is the voice you are absolutely going to hear loud and clear in your own head. It's that little devil on your shoulder, the voice of instant gratification, and it's telling you, you deserve this. You've worked so hard for this. Go on, reward yourself. Buy that shiny new car you've been wanting, or that brand new iPhone. It's the reward trap. And it's so incredibly powerful, because honestly, it feels justified. You feel like you've earned the right to finally relax. But this is the fundamental choice you have to make. Are you going to buy a liability, or are you going to feed an asset? A new car is a liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month, and it loses a huge chunk of its value the second you drive it off the lot. You're basically taking the golden goose you just hatched and killing it for one meal. Or you can put that money into an asset like an index fund, which puts money into your pocket over time. That is how you feed the goose so it can grow and lay more golden eggs for you.
And you have to be ready, because the pressure won't just be internal. You're also going to face what's called the crab bucket effect. You know, when one crab tries to climb out of a bucket, all the other crabs pull it back down. Your friends, your family, often with the best intentions, might do the same thing. They'll tell you to loosen up or that money is for spending. Your discipline might make them feel insecure about their own choices, so consciously or not, they will try to pull you back down to their level.
But if you can resist that temptation, both internal and external, you are ready for the next phase. You are ready to leave the atmosphere for good and truly enter orbit. The path from 20,000 to 100,000 isn't glamorous, it's just methodical. It's about aggressive saving, cutting subscriptions you don't need, selling stuff you don't use, and maybe even getting a side hustle for a year or two. It's not fun, but it's a short-term, intense focus on accumulation. And here's the blueprint for how to do it. So, you take that 20,000 and you need to divide it into two parts. The first 40%, about $8,000, becomes your bulletproof vest. This is your emergency fund. You put it in a safe, high-yield savings account and you do not touch it. It's there purely to protect you from life's curveballs. The other 60%, your $12,000, these are your soldiers. You send them out to work for you in low-cost, broad market index funds. That's where they can begin the real work of compounding and growing your wealth. To make all of this work, you have to adopt this powerful new mindset. You have to burn this quote into your brain. This money you saved, it is not for rewarding your past struggles. That's thinking backwards. This money is for purchasing your future. You're using it to buy something far more valuable than a car. You're buying your freedom. The freedom to choose your work, the freedom to control your time, and the freedom to live without that constant grinding financial fear.
So let's end on this. Once you achieve this escape velocity, once you are no longer chained down by the gravity of poverty, the possibilities, they're really endless. You have bought back your time, your dignity, and your ability to think beyond next week's paycheck. The journey doesn't end at $20,000, but that's where it truly begins. And remember, the first step isn't saving $20,000, it's saving that first $1,000. So the only question left to ask yourself is this: what future would you buy with your freedom?